Hi everybody, it's Russ. Welcome to my Hammers 11, and today we're joined by a member of the famous 1999 FA Youth Cup winning side. Side which had some obviously Carrick, Cole, Adam Newton, and this man as well, who scored 3 of the 9 goals that the team beat Coventry on aggregate across the 2 legs. I think it was 6-0. Upton Park, if I remember quite correctly, where all the players, all the fans were around the side. It was mental. It's Bertie Brayley. Hi, Bertie. How are you?
How are you doing? You okay?
Very well, thank you. How are you keeping this lockdown world we live in at the moment?
Yeah, I'm spending lots of quality time with the family, so I can't grumble. We're doing nice stuff together. So, as you can hear the dog in the background, I might get him in 1 second.
Yeah,
Bronson, come here. Come here. I'll just get him in.
Yeah, get him in. Get him in. Love it. That's the thing. You walk with a dog, you can obviously walk them about, and you get a bit more legitimate exercise, isn't it? Then
you can't have no alone time in my family. It's always one person that will pop up.
Yeah, that's why I'm stuck in my daughter's bedroom with the door shut, because then they know that it's I'm doing some recording. So. But
lovely.
Anyway, thanks for joining, Bertie. I know you're really busy and I don't want to take you away from your family too long. So the idea of this is we're interviewing loads of people over the world, different ages, all West Ham fans, finding out about their Hammers 11 and also a bit more about their experiences and their memories and stuff like that. So sort of, record for prosperity as well. So I'll start with an obvious question. I'm sure I know the answer straight away. But if I said to you, Bertie, what was your greatest West Ham memory, what would it be?
It's probably scoring the opening goal at the Bobby Moore end in the 6-0 win in the FA Youth Cup, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I can't actually remember it because of the adrenaline, but, I sort of, looking back, I do remember, everywhere was packed out. Stadium was full, but they was opening up the East Stand because there was so many people there. So they was coming down the byline as Michael Carrick crossed the ball over to Adam Newton, and he's nodded it back in. And I've scored, and sort of the rest I can't remember. I just got dragged to the floor. Yeah. So that was brilliant. I couldn't have dreamed scoring at the Bobby Moore end in front of a packed Bobby Moore. It was great.
Yeah, and was it last season they sort of got you guys back together, wasn't it, at the training ground, wasn't it?
Yeah, we went to the training ground and we all met. A couple of lads couldn't be there. A couple of lads like obviously Richard Garcia and Michael Franke are in Australia. Joe Cole was canoeing across the channel for charity. But Michael Carrick and all the other boys were there. It was lovely to see them. And we ended up organising another game.
Oh, lovely! And that was and obviously the famous Tony Carr was the manager as well. So good to get Tony involved as well.
Yeah, it was lovely. We had them all back. We had Jimmy Ampson, Tyndall. It was nice. Everybody came. Peter Braybrook's son Wayne came. It was just lovely to see everyone.
Chris Kirtland didn't turn up, did he? I was about to say, wasn't he in goal for Coventry?
He was a good lad too, but I don't think he'd have come to that one.
Cool, brilliant. Well, to be honest, I don't think, as you said, like for a young lad doing that in front of the Bobby Moore, stand. I think everyone would have dreamt to be in your position. And as you said, I remember like they had to keep opening more stands. You said the East Stand, and they were so close to that touchline. And I remember
throwing.
Yes, mental. I don't think they assumed so many were going to turn up at the end. So, obviously, but what a great memory to have. And as I said, it's not lovely that they're keeping everyone in touch as well. It's lovely, and they should do, because since then, they've really won much.
It's 20 years ago, isn't it? It's 20 years ago. I mean, it just flashes by. It feels like yesterday for me, but to look back and to go, wow, that was 20 years ago. You think to yourself, well, where's that gone?
Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Right. Okay. Well, that's probably the best memory I think I've ever heard so far. So I'll allow that one. That's a good one. So in terms of the Hammers 11, quite a simple idea. It's a 4-4-2 formation, although I have been lenient with positions and people can move people around, but we'll try and keep it 4-4-2. And the idea being is the type of people you include are guys that you've basically been alive to watch. So obviously,
Yeah, yeah.
if you said your West Ham 11, it will have Bobby Moore and it will have Trevor Brooking and Jeff Hurst, but I wasn't around to see those players, so I could put in instead. I don't know. I could put in Roger Johnson, Gary Breen, for example. Yeah,
people you've seen live. Yeah,
exactly, and that's the idea. And so it should be fun. It should be fun. So
my first game was in '91. It was in the old South Bank, and I think Paris scored and McAvenny scored. I think it was against Luton, and it was the old BAC kit with the stripes around the arms.
Yeah,
I remember just it was all standing then. I remember standing and looking out, thinking, "Wow, you know, it was amazing." And I remember seeing Paris because he was big and powerful, and you know that was my first memory of going to West Ham in '91.
Wow. Well, that's yeah. I mean, I think I was 92, so I was the year after. But yeah, I think everyone has these sort of memories and cherishes these games, and maybe not necessarily the games that and the players as well that everyone cherishes. So you know, I was a big John Moncur fan. I haven't. He hasn't cropped up in any Hammers 11s at the moment, but you never know. And so, what's that? Sorry.
He was both-footed. He was decent.
Yeah, he was, and he could put a tackle in, and you knew he was going to take the first yellow card for the fan, you know, for the team. Yeah. I remember him getting subbed on, and then straight away yellow card. Yeah, he knew it.
I remember being 16, and I got invited in to train with the first team, and obviously John was on the opposite side, and I've just scored. I scored quite a good goal. Someone crossed it in, and I flicked it to the outside of my foot on the volley into the top corner, and he went, "Oi, did you mean that, skinhead?" Oh, and I didn't know what to say to him, sort of thing. And then we ended up having a challenge, and I dug into his ribs, and he weren't too happy, to be fair.
Love it. Love it. Right, let's crack on, because I think this is going to be a good one. To tell the viewers, Bertie has notes and bullet points, so he's thought about this. So I think it's going to be a good one. Right, let's start with Between the Sticks in goal.
Why are you supposed to be all in my head?
Okay. So it's all those headers over your career playing for like Chelmsford and Margate and Swindon and stuff. That's what it is. So you've got to write it down. I appreciate that. Right, so who are we going to go for in goal, Bertie?
There's only one choice, Lou Klosco. You know, beast of a man. Played so many games for West Ham. I think it's 300 and odd, which is that's brilliant. I ended up going to QPR as well, and he was a first team goalkeeper coach, stroke player there. Just a lovely guy, and my memories of him, he was fearless in goal. He could half kick a ball. The odd time, you know, he'd kick it off the pitch. But if he kicked it right, he's reaching the other end's goalkeeper. You know, he had good power. So, but no, absolutely fearless in goal, stick himself in front of anything, but a lovely man as well.
Good shout. I mean, there's no one's going to disagree with that one, Bertie. Right, I'll put Ludo in. Ludo's in goal. Right, who are we going to go with for left back?
So left back, I've gone for Dixie. I used to do Dixie's boots as an apprentice.
Wow.
I was lucky enough to sort of catch him on his last stint at West Ham, and train with him a couple of times also. So I didn't just get the honour of washing his boots. It was sort of, you know, I got to rub shoulders with him. So I remember being in a keep ball session with him. His left foot was so good, but he would put the ball where he would want me to go. He'd move me in, so my next decision was easy. So he'd pass the ball into the space instead of to my feet, and it would make me move. And then that made my next pass easy. He was fantastic, and obviously a no-nonsense tackler and great at penalties.
And I mean, that bit of insight is something that probably no one has said in terms of the way where Julian would pass. He would pass it to make your first decision easier, because obviously we see the man, we see the tackler, we see the 35-yard thunderbolts into the top corner. That type of stuff is really, really interesting to know.
Oh, no, intelligent footballer, and to make someone physically move without me deciding I wanted to move there, you know, that shows you how good. So
that's a good shout. Right, who's going to go on the right back then?
So right back's going to be Glen Johnson. I know he didn't play too many games. I don't know how many he played, probably 20, 30, I don't know. But my recollection of Glen Johnson was You know, I obviously see him when he did make his debut as well, but he was just. He came on the bench in one of our youth cup games. He was only about 15, and I remember him walking into our changing room, and he just had this aura about him. And I looked at him, and I thought, that kid's going to be something. Like, you just knew.
Yeah.
You know, he come in, tremendous athlete. You know, he was a shy lad, and our dressing room, you know, picked up on that. So it wasn't easy to walk into. But no, you just knew that he was going to be something special.
Yeah, and the career he went on to have as
And
well. So
he was going to get sold on to, you know, wherever he went, like Chelsea or whatever. And, you know, it's heartbreaking, and to sell your best players, but, you know, that was the sort of club it was at that moment.
and it's one of those periods that a lot of people have referred to when we be doing these interviews as sort of that was the golden era, like that sort of era, and what could have been. So obviously finished 5th that year, or when we had all those players, what could have been another year.
That was Glen. Glen was only a kiddie then, so he was still in the sort of schoolboy stroke. I mean, he was 15 when he came into the youth cup side. But that year we won the youth cup. I think that's the year we finished 5th. But that's the year he was talking about. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, and
such a.
Well, if you read through, people were reading through, obviously, you had the Lampards and the Carricks and the Joes, and you had Rios, and you had Johnsons, and David James in goal, and Jermaine. Yeah, you would have actually had probably 3/4 of the England squad playing for West Ham at the, ideally at the same time. But obviously, you said at that time, what we could do to reinvest those players, in terms of, before Joe, you had Berkovic, and then they had to sell Berkovic because Harry wouldn't be able to fit Berkovic and Joe Cole into the same team. And, so it's a sliding doors moment, but at least we've got the memories of those players to keep. So I like that. I like put Johnson on the right. I like that. Dixon on the left, Johnson on the right. Who we got in the centres then, Bertie? Centre backs.
The first one would be Rio Ferdinand, which is obvious. I'd go to say, he's the most skillful defender, West Ham and probably England's ever seen. So there's no denying him a spot there. He was just, a tremendous athlete, a nice lad. I remember watching him I trained with him a few times, and I remember watching him when I didn't train with him, and it'd be a keep ball situation again, going back to keep balls, because you see players in possession and how they deal with the pressure, being closed down, etc. He never used to give it away. It was fun for him. Like, someone would close him down at 2-man now, and he would just pick someone off, and you'd stand off him, he'd make you come, and he was tremendous. And to see someone silky and be a great defender too, because he didn't like to let no one past him, and he read the game well. But I mean, you've only got to look at his career and sort of where it went. You just knew that he was going to be a superstar. So, yeah, so Rio Ferdinand.
And I agree your sentiment. I said it many times about that. West Ham and England have not had a classier centre back since Rio. That's for sure.
Some of the things he's done. I mean, he started out as a centre forward. That's probably where he got his silkiness from. To have the defensive side of the game he had, but then if he was running forward, if someone was closing him down, he had the trick to beat him. It looks lovely on the foot pitch.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so who we got partnering Rio in the centres then, Bertie?
We've got the Ginger Pele. Yeah, we got Collins.
Love it.
But I don't think that man gets the respect he deserves. Goes about his business, tough tackler. And you know what? He's got great technique. I've seen him hit diagonal balls, and they'd fall on a sixpence. And I just think that he hasn't been praised enough, to be quite honest with you. I remember playing against him. I was playing for Grays Athletic in the conference, and we had Zola brought us side down, and we played against West Ham at the old Rec. And I remember going to close him down. And as I'm going to close him down, I thought, I've got him like that. It was like sort of slow motion. He's pinged this 70-yard cross, in behind our fullback, and I looked round and I went, "Oh, okay," because I thought I hadn't really seen much of him,
Yeah.
and I thought, "Oh, okay." And then after about his 8th diag, I thought, "Yeah, he's decent."
And I agree. I mean, he's been a great. He's been a great servant to the club. You know, two sets of spells at Upton Park, or West Ham, and Upton Park at London Stadium, and obviously famously he came with Danny Gabardon, didn't they, together as a package, and it was always believed that the package was because they wanted James Collins, and Danny Gabardon was good, but it was Collins was the one they wanted to sort of.
He's a fantastic player. I mean, he does deserve more praise. He really has been a fantastic player for the club and solid. You know, him and Rio at the back would have been nice to watch, because Rio would have had to get involved with any of the nasty stuff. He could have just done whatever he'd done, and he would have cleared anything up Rio missed, I reckon.
Yeah, I agree, and I don't think you're going to get much change out of, if you were a right winger out of Julian Dix and say James Collins if you played him on the left side of those two, that's for sure. And then when he got through, they got Ludo bearing down at them. Right, cool. So we got Ludo, we got Dixie, Collins, Rio, and we got Glen Johnson. Let's go to midfield then, Bertie. Who we got at left wing?
We've got Super Trevor Sinclair. He was also, I was lucky enough to clean his boots as well. Great person. You know, he was powerful, because he's only about 5'8", 5'9", so he was small, but he was stocky. He was a solid athlete, and boy could he finish. You know, you wouldn't want him running it. He was an intelligent player, lovely technique. I mean, if you didn't have all them sort of things, you wouldn't have played for England. So, you know, Trevor was superb.
Yeah, and you've played him on the left, which is where he played for England on the left, if I remember, during the World Cup.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, 2002 World Cup, wasn't it?
Mm. He
2002 World Cup.
He kept sort of.
He got his head on the plane and got in the team. I think it was the quarterfinals, wasn't it? They got to.
Yeah.
So
they had and Hargreaves was out, and I think he was ahead of Joe. I think because Joe was sort of left wing, he was at Chelsea. You know, so yeah, I mean, he did. You know, he stayed there for a long time, and you know, until Dex really, it's the last time and before Declan really that there's been a consistent. I think he played like 12, 13 games for England in that period. So
yeah.
Right, cool.
Yeah, no, smashing lad as well. Lovely gentleman he is.
Yeah, he does come, and he still comes across, you know, everywhere he's been, whether it's City, whether it's QPR, West Ham, he's still really revered in terms of, you can see just his interaction on Twitter with his followers and stuff. So, yeah lovely guy. Lad. Right, who are we going to get on the right wing opposite? Who's going to complement Sinclair on the left, and who's going on the right wing?
See, I was a little bit stuck here because I wanted to get Paolo Berkovic in my team, but I've gone for the other one. I've gone for Yossi Benayoun.
Nice.
So I think he's a little bit more mobile than what Ayo was. Didn't really want to stick Ayo out on the right. But, you know, Yossi was quick. He could see the pass like Paolo Berkovic, could see lovely passes. And he could chip in the goals too. So that's my choice there.
And you're right, and I think actually Yossi played more on the right wing anyway. You know, as a right, he drifted more out to the right. He said Berkovic wasn't particularly mobile, sort of sitting in that middle and just ping little through balls to Hartson and Kitson. That was what he was doing.
He could, some of the passes he did, you know, he done all the simple stuff perfect, but even the hard stuff where players made mistakes on that final third pass, he was amazing. He really was amazing, but let's not take the shine off of Yossi.
No, Yossi's in. Yeah, Yossi's in. And I think it's the first time his name's come up, like, properly. You know, people said, do I go for Berkovic or Benayoun? But in this formation, he would do the job on the right side. So, okay, we put Yossi on the right. Yeah. All right. Now, who are we going to go for the two in the middle then? Who's going to complement those two wingers?
Super Frankie Lampard. He's in the middle. You know, another one I was lucky to brush shoulders with. We've stayed in contact even after all these years. I mean, he got me tickets for the Chelsea-West Ham game this season when we beat him 1-0. So I'm still in contact with him. I went to see him play at Manchester City as well. I mean, again, my recollection of him, what a model pro. You know, he's the perfect pro. And he was talented. He was, you know, strong, quick. I mean, what you got to remember is he was very young when he broke into the first team. And he had all the weight on his shoulders with his dad and stuff like that. But he worked and earned it himself. I see him do it, you know, and training with him and stuff like that. And it was fantastic. And he was a big lad. And he was strong. And I've never seen a hard worker like that. And what a career he went on and had. So
yeah. And yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, him and Glen Johnson and Rio, you know, there's, you know, it's almost, and that's what's quite nice about this sort of series is, you know, people think outside probably, you know, people still associate, not necessarily from West Ham's perspective, but from the outsiders would be Lampard was a Chelsea boy, but actually it was West Ham that made him.
He was West Ham homegrown, but we're coming back to the selling situation again. You know, he's played for West Ham. He's done us a good service, and he was only ever going to go up. You know, I mean, I mean, when he was with West Ham, he gave everything to West Ham, and I think the stick that he gets a little bit unfair. You know, because like anyone in life, if you're in a normal job and you're too talented for the job that you're in, you want to better yourself. You want to, you know, you want to have a good career. You want to have the best you can. You know, and I think that was a decision that had to be made, and it weren't just on Frank's part; it was on the club's part. They wanted the money.
Yeah, exactly, and I think you're right, definitely, and I think there's, you know, and it's, but then obviously it's funny. I think I was interviewing Leon or something like that. We was talking about, you know, when John Terry came back for Mark Noble's testimonial, he got a clap because he was in a West Ham shirt. And you know, it's you know, things.
I mean, John was sort of a schoolboy for a little while.
Exactly.
He wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, but he's a loved character. You know, he done a good service for England, didn't he? So
exactly.
He's,
but when he was in a Chelsea shirt, he was booed out of Upton Park. But you know, he comes back in a West Ham shirt, and he's there's a little ripple of cheers. You know, and it's like anything's possible nowadays. Apart from Paul Ince, I think anything's possible.
Well, you know, football is fickle, isn't it? It's that sort of game. One, you could be flavour of the month, and then, you know, put a foot wrong. Everyone's human, and you're this and you're that. You know, anything against the club. You know, I mean, we're going back to the Lampards. What a lovely family, lovely family. So,
all right, Frank's in. Frank Junior's in. We'll put Junior just because there'd be some older fans here, and they'll just make sure. So we'll put Frank Junior in, who is partnering Lamps in the middle. Then Bertie.
There's only one player, really, isn't there? Super Joey Cole.
I thought you were going to say Jonathan Spector, but yeah, we'll put Joe Cole in.
No. Oh yeah, super Joey Cole. Lucky enough to know him for many years. You know, coming through schoolboys together, through to the youth ranks, and winning the FA Youth Cup final with him and stuff like that. But even since the age of sort of 13, people was like, "Wow, look at what he can do with the ball." And luckily enough, he was in my age group. We had a special age group, to be fair. A lot of talented players. All of us was talented. I mean, we used to do. You get 5 or 6 players running over at Joe in training, and it'd look like something out of a cartoon. It'd be in the middle. All these players would go bash like that, and then Joe walk out with the ball. It was ridiculous, but you know, 2 great feet. He could do anything with the ball, but he was such an intelligent, good player. You know, and he's had a fantastic career.
Yeah, he has. And
lovely family too, lovely guy. You know,
that's the thing that, you know, again, comes across a lot of people talking about how much of a nice guy, and he's. I think a lot of people have seen it now more. He's doing more punditry on BT Sport and stuff. He's coming across as such a level-headed guy.
Great working for the NHS as well, raising lots of money in this time. So, you know, he puts a lot of time and effort into charities. He's got heart of gold. He has got heart of gold.
Well, I'll tell you what, that is a pretty tasty midfield. Would definitely still do a job. I
That is
think
it.
it would. It's not a bad midfield. Right, so who's going to be our two up front, Bertie? Who's going to be banging these goals in for this Dream 11?
Are you still there? Yeah, I
Yeah, we're
lost you a
still.
bit there.
Yeah, it's cool, man. Who?
So between both of these lads' boots, I'll go with my was Super Johnny Hartson. Hello,
Hello, I can hear you, Bertie. We've got Johnny
you still
Hartson in.
there?
Yeah, we're still here.
Yeah, sorry. So Super Johnny Hartson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean you've got to look his games to goal ratio.
Mm.
So 60 appearances and 24 goals.
Wow.
That's quite amazing, right?
Yeah, there's not many that are better than that. Not many are
Lost
going
you.
to better that.
You there? Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I'm still there, Bertie.
that's amazing. Big, strong striker, you know. I remember him saying to me one day, you know, before we was at the main stadium, and I can't remember who they was playing against, but I've gone to pick my tickets up from the ticket office at the front, and he was in the back getting some tickets for family or whatever, and he said, "Hey, Bird," like that, you know, in his Welsh voice. They ain't the best, but I went, "How you doing?" He went, "I'm gonna score today." I went, "Okay." He went, "And I'm gonna point up to you in the West Stand." And he did it. It was brilliant. It was like, you know, he's a big man, and he had lovely technique, and he was strong, held the ball up well, and boy, could he finish, you know. And I'll never forget that, because I remember thinking, right, yeah, all right, no worries. Like, and I'm in the West Stand, and he scored at that end at the North Bank at Trevor Brooking, and he's gone like that. He's pointing up, and I'm thinking, that's for me, you know. But no, he done exactly what he said, and his stats speak for itself, you know.
Yeah.
It's just a shame we couldn't have had a bit more of him, you know.
Unfortunately, that's and in your team, that's pretty much, apart from a couple, that's pretty much the same story for most of them at the moment, you know. And
Yeah.
that's the thing. That's the thing. So, who are we going to partner up front with Johnny then, Bertie?
Paolo Di Canio. Now, I've got a bone to pick with Paolo, to be quite honest with you. So, as a youth team player and a boot boy, you used to get maybe a gift at Christmas from your whoever's boots you're doing, and so I had Paolo, and I'm thinking, well, I could be quids in here. Like, obviously, one of the top earners. Here we go. Like, I've had a right touch, and so anyway, he's come here, like that. He took me into the car park at Chablis, and as we're going into the car park, he's gone, come to my car. Like, I've gone to his car, and he's pulled out a pair of yellow Pantofola Dioro boots, what he used to wear, and brand new. And the only problem was they was 2 sizes too small and they had no laces. So there's me thinking, we are. I'm quids in. He's going to give me a little treat, blah blah. And yeah, no, I got a pair of boots that are 2 sizes too small that I couldn't do up. So I've still got them now.
But to be honest, Bertie, that's just Paolo, isn't it? That's just a typical. You could
Yeah.
so imagine him doing that anyway. But yeah, what a great player.
I mean, he was fantastic, and I got to train with him as well. And I actually got to play in a pre-season first team friendly with him, and go on and being up front with him. I think it was away to someone like Haybridge Swifts, and I've gone up front, and he's twisting, he's turning, you know, he's chopped people for fun, and I'm standing there for an open goal sort of thing, and he's hit it wide, and I'm like, I didn't know what to say. Anyone else, I'd have gone mad, and I was like, oh, never mind, sort of thing, and I just jogged back, and I'm thinking, yeah, I could have squared me there. I'd have been in the Sun newspapers saying I scored.
Oh God! But
But
again,
no, fantastic.
yeah, again, it's
I mean,
Paolo.
yeah, I mean, going back to John Hartson, which is something I've left out. It's one of my bullet points. So at Chablis, you had like you had the car park with a wooden fence, and you had like a little 6-a-side pitch behind it. So I was with the youth team then, and Frank Lampard shouting out, "I want 2 players. Can you send Bertie and Joe over?" So we've gone over to, and we're kicking about. I've gone once on one team, Joe's gone on the other team. Like, everything's normal sort of thing. The game starts, and I think you know where I'm going with it. It was the so my first ever taste of training with the first team was it was the Hartson and Berkovic incident. So we're training. I'm buzzing, thinking like I felt a bit nervous, to be fair. I was an outgoing lad. I weren't scared of much. I had a bit of front, but it was the first ever session, and I was thinking, wow, like, actually in this session, and all of a sudden that's happened, and sort of, I think Hartson's caught Isle, and he's gone down, and John's just put his hand in to say sorry, and he's sort of whacked John in the ran near the cashews, and he just sort of kicked out. Anyone would have. I mean, John was saying sorry, and he's whacked him in the cashews, and sort of he's lashed out at him. And I remember Harry saying, "Get the kids in, get the kids in." Like, meaning me and Joe, and sort of, and it was crazy. That was that was another John Hartson moment. I was actually there.
Wow, you were there. That's impressive.
But they were all right after a day or so.
Yeah, it's crazy. Right, so we've got Ludo in goal. We got Dixie, Collins, Rio, Johnson in defence. We got Trev, Joe, Frank Lampard Jr. and Yoshi Benayoun on the right. And we got Hartson and PDC up front. Tell you what, that is tasty. That is tasty.
I think we tried, to be fair. It's got a lot of flair with, we can mix it. If you want to row, we can go physical. So I think that'd be quite a hard team to beat.
I think so. And you've got the pace of Trev, you've got the quickness of Joe, long shots of Frank, you've got Yoshi dinking in, Paolo dinking in, Hartson, target man up front. And as you said, Julian.
You tell me one guy that can't score a goal in that team other than Ludo.
No.
And he could probably do it from a goal kick.
The goal kick, yeah, take it to the goalkeepers. Bertie, it has been absolutely fantastic chatting to you. I really appreciate you taking the time. I think as I said, we're getting all these different stories and all these different anecdotes from different fans, but to come from a player's perspective, it's something that's different and something which we haven't got on the channel yet. So I really appreciate you taking the time.
There's so many. I mean, even you obviously know Peter's story. So we was away. I think we played York in one of the rounds of the FA Youth Cup. And we stayed in a hotel right next to the York golf course. And I was a cheeky chappy anyway. So we stayed at this hotel, and there was a couple of maids, like those young ladies, sort of doing the bedrooms, this, that, and the other. And I flirting, joking about with one of them, and I sort of picked her up, so she was in my arms, like mucking about. And I looked to the right, and Peter Story was standing there, and I just dropped her. I just dropped her. I just decided done nothing. I was all having a bit of banter, but like sort of. So there was the corridor, the lobby, and there was a door that you could sort of open.
Yeah. And
as I've gone like that, and I've got in my arms, I've looked round. He's at the door and seen the glass window. I just went like that. That was one of the times, anyway.
Brilliant. Oh, Bertie, thank you so much, and thank you to everyone who's been listening and watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, share the episode, and tell your friends. And we'll see you again for the next episode. Take care. Bye bye.
All the best.